Aha! So, part 28 of the eLiquid log database. So we have kind of finished all of the buttons, at least what I'm going to do to get this database thing up and running and to do everything I needed to do. All of these buttons now have very ugly thick borders on them, which we can kind of remove in a minute. We're only using those to keep track of the ones we've done. But there is one left which doesn't have an ugly border, which I just decided to add at the last minute, or rather I kind of forgot to add it before, it always needed to be there, is the ingredient summary. Now basically the ingredient summary is going to just list out all of the ingredients, surprisingly enough, not the bottles, but the ingredients, and then to give us a sort of quick look up on how much left we've got of a specific ingredient, it will show us that number. Basically it will look for all of the bottles of that ingredient. So say if we had selected amaretto, it would look into the stock table, find all the bottles of amaretto, add up what's remaining in any of those bottles and give us a total in this summary. We'll also add a couple of buttons that might as well be there for us to quickly jump to the stock form. So basically this form, but filtered down just for stock for that particular ingredient. And yeah, that's probably pretty much it. So I'm going to get on and create that right now. Right, I'm back. It's done. So basically I've built a new form. So let's have a look at the actual form running. Click the ingredient summary. And basically we've got a close button, which obviously just closes it. We have this drop down here, which is a list of all the ingredients, which are then repeated down here. But if we select one, it just assists us moving to it. So if we move to sweetener, it jumps straight down to there. It shows us the total we've got of any bottles of sweetener is 8.7 ml. And if we like, we can click view stock. It'll open up the stock form with just the bottles are relating to that ingredient. And there we can see we've got 8.7 ml left of the only bottle of that we've got. And that is more or less it. We've got a bit of an error down here, but that's due to calculations. I need to remove the new on here. But that's just tidying up. If we go into the design of it, essentially, it's all I did was create a very simple multiple records form from the ingredients table. I removed a number of the fields we don't really need. Don't even really need to see ingredient ID, to be honest. So we're left with ingredient name. I've got an unbound box here, which just calculates. If we have a look at it, it just literally does a calculation on the amount of stock remaining, or the stock remaining quantity in the stock table, where the stock ingredient ID equals the ingredient ID found here. It then rounds that up or down, and that's more or less that. The view stock button obviously is fairly simple. If we have a look at the code, all it's doing is it's using our form opener function to open the stock form and to filter out where the stock ingredient ID equals the ingredient ID we are looking at. The only other couple of things on here, this is the code to move between records, which I showed you. So that essentially when you have selected something in that drop down here, after you've selected it, it's going to run this handler. It's going to set the focus to the ingredient ID because basically we can only really do finding a record based on the field that we're in. So we have to move to a field. And then we use this find record function to search through and find anything that, well, not anything, but finds the ingredient ID field that matches the ingredient combo value, which is the background value of that, which happens to be ingredient ID. The only other thing is the close button, and it has do command close. So that is that, and that is what it looks like. So the other thing I've done is I've used some conditional formatting, setting the background to grey and the font color to red, where that calculated stock quantity remaining is less than or equal to 0, just to give me a quick instant sort of view of it. You can see we've got a bit of nonsense going on here. We've got minus 6.4 of nicotine left, but that's because we were playing around the other day and did something that made it go into the negatives. So we close that, and yeah, that actually is now, as far as I'm concerned, right now, all of the functionality that's needed to use this database, at least as far as the control panel is concerned. And in fact, you know, pretty much like 90%, 95%, as much as the whole database is concerned. Now what I need to do is I need to spend a little bit of time going through each one of these forms, looking at any to-dos I might have left in, tidying things up a little bit, making sure that everything works. And I'll do that for each form, and I will get back to you once I have made a list of little, yeah, cleanup items to complete. And then once we've done that, it's done. Watching paint dry would be more interesting.